Typical Subaru, just getting pushed around. This car, as you guys can see, has not been washed one single time after the paint job. But today, my friends, to get the day started off, that is gonna change. There we freaking go. Got the old girl cleaned up for the first time. Today's gonna be a pretty chill, laid back type of day for me. Cause to be honest, I'm kind of running out of things to do. A little bit. There's just a lot of odds and ends, buttoning up, miscellaneous, fixes, finishes, additions, completions to do on this car. So to start, let's complete the passenger side, meaning we need to get the side skirt on. The reason I didn't put the skirt on is I was missing 2 of these clips that go on the back of the skirt. This thing is already taped right here, ready to go on the car. So let's get these clips installed. That tape's not required. It's just super nice when there's not a gap in between the skirt and I guess you'd call it the rocker. So I definitely prefer it. Get the little clips in that the bottom of the skirt screws onto. Okay, ready to go. Let's go ahead and complete the headlights. So as of right now, we don't have fogs. I think high beams or blinkers. And I should have all of the utensils here, the proper products here, to go ahead and get that completed. I misspoke. Low beams and high beams both worked. So now we have to sort the fog lights and sort the blinkers. I did also order, it looks like I completely forgot, but I did order some LED bulbs for the high beams. So I'll go ahead and get these installed now. That's what they look like. And these are gonna go right like that. Built-in fan, seems like a quality unit. I'll link them down below. Now the blinker, we should just need the proper bulbs, which I hope I ordered. They still don't fit. They do. You try to cram them in. Interesting. So I think the factory USDM blinker bulbs will work because these are the same. There's a very, very tight fit to where it feels like you're going to break them. Now the fogs, these guys are not complicated, but a little bit more tricky. So we're running a yellow Nokia. It's a 9006 bulb, but you also need a pigtail for the 9006. So the fog is going to go in this corner over here. Lock it in place. Now with this, we have 2 different options. We could snip off the factory wiring connector, which is right here, or we should be able to depin both, put this plug on this wiring. So it's all factory wiring, just a different connector. I'm gonna try that first. Depin both of these guys. If the pins are different for each connector, we're trying to cut and splice, which that'll still work and look clean, but OEM is better. Okay, both are depinned. I'm assuming it's gonna be the same orientation of wires. Black on the passenger side, red being on the driver's side. But before we put the headlight on, let's confirm it works with the bulb. Okay, so it looks like it may be backward right now. Fog lights were not working at first. I checked power at the fuse. There's no power to the fuses. So then I backtracked and is actually missing the relay for the fogs. Now, watch this. Bam. Good to go. I hate wiring, but it's really, really nice knowing how wiring works. You know what I mean? So on the driver's side, the black wire goes to the passenger side. And it does look like you can swap the wiring connector just fine. So that is of course what I would recommend because I feel it's the cleanest method. As you can see, plug and play. No splicing, no nothing. Another thing I was missing was that little plastic clip on both sides. Mitsubishi calls it a grommet. There's the part number. There is only one part that I need for these headlights that I cannot find. It's a little clip that this, I guess you'd call it like a ball, goes on the fender bracket, and I cannot find it. I can't find the OEM part number for it. So if anyone has one of those, or even just the OEM part number, that'd be sick. Because I feel like that's gonna cause a bit of rattling. Now for a traditional build, not that important. For this build, extremely important. Let's make sure everything works. Okay, so it should be low beam, inside marker, blinker, cool, fog, nice, high beam. That high beam is definitely extremely bright, which will be super nice for nighttime driving. You can see the high beam that was in there before. Poop. Headlights should now be 100% complete. I really wish I could run just fog. Actually, maybe I can. Are these independent fog light capable? With headlights off, with just side marker on, they are not. Dang. I love yellow fogs. Dang, dude, especially on a yellow Evo 8. I may have to do a little bit of thinking and figure out how to make these independent fogs. It'd be sick to run them just with the side markers, and it'd be cool to run fog, low beam, and high beam all at the same time. I wonder if anyone's done it. Let me Google. Next up, I am going to complete the catch can setup. So we have a DI Fab catch can on here. It's a 3-port, 10 ports, and I'm gonna be plugging or capping one of them off and just running 2 ports from the valve cover. So one port is gonna go right here on the side, and then PCV back here, that's gonna run over to the catch can as well. Unfortunately, I do need to pull the valve cover, and the reason why, well, a couple different reasons. This right here needs to be tapped to accept our 10AN adapter. They make a push-in 10AN for the rear of the valve cover, so I need to tap that. I want to pull the valve cover for that just to make sure there's no metal shavings in the motor. And if you can take a peek right there, the whole front side, the valve cover is leaking. The seal that we got on here, she's leaking, so I'm gonna replace that as well. Now thankfully, when we powder coated this valve cover, I drilled and tapped for the baffles, which is super nice because I want to remove this one side just to make sure we get any sort of shavings out from tapping it. This guy here, made from radium, is for the backside, the PCV. Now this port right here, like I said, they don't make a push fitting. So I'm gonna drill and tap it. And I believe this is a 1/4 inch NPT. Yep, 1/4 inch NPT with a 7/16 drill bit. Now let's hope we don't ruin this valve cover. Got her drilled out. Now let's give her a nice tap action. I'm sure there's other methods of doing this, but that seemed like the most viable solution for me. And that, my friends, is the reason for taking out the baffle. Baffle is back in. Let's go ahead and get the seal swapped out. I'm not gonna lie, that was not an OEM seal that I had on there, but I'm doing OEM now. OEM is spendy. I think it's 60 or 70 bucks for the seal, for the outer seal and the spark plug tube O-rings. Valve cover's back on. There's port number 1. Port number 2. Let's fab up some lines to run to the ports on the catch can. This is something I really need to do on the Type R as well. It's a little bit sketch running that thing with just the valve cover wide open. I have a series of different fittings here. The rear is of course going to be a 90. I like to try to plan everything out beforehand. Let's do a straight on this. That could maybe be a 45. I have everything mapped out as far as what fittings are going where. That's going to be a 45 to connect there. 90 off the back. It's going to run here, connect there. Should be nice, simple, clean, effective. First line is built. Look at that. That is beautiful. That's a quality line right there, my friends. But of course, that's a simple one. The long one is going to be tricky to make look that nice. Catch can and lines are completed. And here's how it looks. Not bad. I love the DI Fab catch can. Of course, I'll link down below for you guys if you want one for your build. Last OEM goodie I was waiting on was a stupid $30 hose. But it had to be OEM because a non-OEM wouldn't have this bend. Last thing I need to get sorted for the day. I need to get this trunk figured out and cleaned up and situated. As of right now, it's a giant mess. It ain't safe. If that wire gets cut, it's grounding out. So here's how it looks before. Pretty freaking janky, right? Now the main thing I was waiting on is a good way to crimp these battery lugs on. With some of the cheaper, thinner battery lugs, you can get away with just like setting it on the ground and hammering it on. But with these nice beefy ones that I'm putting on this car, you need a proper tool. And this here, my friends, is a proper tool. This is a hydraulic crimping tool. Found it on, I think, Amazon or eBay. I'll link it down below for you boys. But this is the proper way to get battery lugs on. And that is how it should look. Very nice and clean, never coming off. I'm also going to be ditching that random kind of junky fusible link up top. It's also made for a 1 aught, not for a 2 aught like we have. And we're going to be installing this guy here. And that looks like a perfect spot for it to sit. I'm really trying to get away from using self-tappers on anything that I do. I'm a very big fan of riv nuts right now. They just make everything so clean. So this guy here, our fuse, is going to be riv nutted in place. I feel like 4 bolts is a bit overkill. 2 should be ample. Everything with the trunk and battery is finally complete. As you guys can see, it's all fully hidden underneath the factory carpet. And if you lift this up, if you have to access anything, that is the general layout. Of course, there's a lot going on. We're powering 3 fuel pumps. We have some pretty thick gauge wire. We have power to the ECU. There's a lot going on here, but it's very clean. It's very simple. Fuses for the fuel pumps, relays for the fuel pumps, battery, ground. And my favorite part, of course, is that our trunk is still fully usable, or the hatch, I guess you'd call it. Fully usable. That, my friends, is clean. You know what's not clean is the car.